Darn, this new toaster burnt my toast again.
Wow, that's so Jewish.
What are you talking about? How is burning toast Jewish?
The Torah is full of stories and descriptions of the Israelites burning things up. Bulls, sheep, goats, doves, even flour. It was their way of connecting to God and to each other. Your burnt toast reminds me of Vayikra, which is the Torah portion about all kinds of burnt offerings the Israelites used to make.
That seems incredibly strange. Burning stuff to connect to God? I've never seen Jews doing anything like that.
That's absolutely right. Jews haven't done any of that for 2,000 years. Some of what the Torah talks about are holidays and rituals that Jews still practice today, but other parts, like Vayikra, talk about things that they used to do, but can't do or don't do anymore.
Ah, like burnt offerings. It's hard to relate to it though, it still doesn't seem very Jewish to me.
And I'm sure we wouldn't seem very Jewish to them. Imagine for a second that Moses or one of his Israelite friends took a kind of a time warp into the 21st century. He would see Jews sitting in a building, singing prayers and reading the Torah, and he'd probably ask the same question that you asked me. What's Jewish about this?
Really? But I always thought synagogues and prayers and reading the Torah were the absolute most Jewish things ever.
Many of us think of them that way, but just as the ancient sacrifices feel foreign to us, synagogues and prayers would seem strange to our ancestors.
Fair enough. But if their world is so different from ours, what's the point of even reading Torah portions like Vayikra? If it has nothing to do with our lives, why bother with it?
Let's do the time warp. Again. The rituals Vayikra describes are very different from what we're used to, but the big ideas that they're trying to get at can still give us things to think about.
Okay, so tell me about the burnt toast.
Well, if an Israelite committed a sin, even by accident, they had to burn a goat or a sheep as a sacrifice to God to apologize for the mistake they made. But if you couldn't afford a whole goat or sheep, you could just bring a little bit of grain called a meal offering and burn it up instead, kind of like your toast. That way, nobody is prevented from connecting to God just because they don't have as much wealth.
Yeah, that is still such an important idea today. It's not about how fancy or expensive our gifts are, but the intention we have in giving them.
Right. And here's another one. When the high priest, who was the leader of the Israelites, messed up, he had to apologize not just for his own mistake, but on behalf of the whole community that followed him. He had to bring an entire bull as a sacrifice. That was much more expensive than a goat, to apologize for leading his community astray.
That's another good one. In our time, just like in theirs, our actions affect other people. Our mistakes can ripple out and affect our broader community. And when our leaders make mistakes, they can have really bad consequences for the whole world.
Exactly.
I think I'm starting to understand what you mean. What we think of as Jewish now might have been totally foreign to our ancestors back then, and what they thought of as Jewish then would be totally foreign to us now.
But the connection is that the key ideas and values still resonate today, even the burnt offerings. We just need to translate them a bit. We can learn about the traditions of the past and then shape new traditions that are about the same values.
That's a really good point. I'm never going to look at toast the same way again.